we have a few of us here who have seen The Exorcist, and we have a very varied opinion on it.
Yes.
Now I know two of us absolutely hated it. One of us absolutely loved it, and the other one is in the middle.
Who loved it?
Take a guess.
Well, loving is putting it strongly.
Oh, Dre. But you are joking me, Chato.
No, I appreciate it. I actually thought it was. I'm not going to say I loved it.
No.
I was pleasantly surprised because based on the word of mouth, everything I kept on hearing from everyone, I was expecting it to be the worst movie ever.
Oh my God.
And it wasn't that. Now, I do have issues with the movie, but what I did like about it is basically just this thematic line that goes through it all. The Exorcist believer. That is absolutely the theme of the movie, which calls right back to the first movie, certainly the theatrical cut of the first movie, which emphasizes the power of belief. How important that is in dealing with both obstacle in your own life, certainly against the supernatural. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything here just yet, but there is also a parallel to the book of Job in the movie, which I also appreciated. And the way that they paid that off towards the end with the end twist, I thought was really clever. And that ending twist is kind of like what made the movie for me. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's actually a really, really clever twist. I kind of saw it coming. This is where you needed to be firm in your faith. And there was one character there who wasn't firm in faith and was willing to bargain with the devil for a better outcome. And the consequence of that was immediate.
My problem with the movie, even though I'm the one in the middle, is that's one of my issues with the movie, is how it paints certain characters, how
in the middle
nerfs. Okay, here's my problems with it. I like Andre, I agree with him. It brought some new ideas to the table for the Exorcist franchise when we're in the 5th movie in this franchise. People got to remember that. Actually, 5.5 movies into this franchise.
Remember the TV series. And the TV series
that too,
was really good, but I've checked out the first couple of episodes. Fantastic.
That being said, I was talking more about the fact that we have 2 films for part 4. But
this is true. Yeah, we have branching paths in the past there.
My 2 main issues with this movie are the nerfing of the Catholic religion and this idea that we had to have a diversity of religions in it. And then they're not even very descriptive in what religions they pick. And the way that they treat the Catholics and the white family by extension. And then Ellen Bernstein's speech that's making the internet is one of the worst moments in the movie altogether, period, hands down. But other than that, like the rest of the cast, I didn't think was bad. I thought the girls did an amazing job, considering there's a couple other bits in the movie that kind of fell flat. But overall, like you said, the twist, how it works, all that kind of stuff was a little bit different than what we gotten before. And I'm interested to see where they go from here, more so than I liked this movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mr. Gore, what did you think? We have some mixed opinions so far. Where do you stand?
I hated it. I thought it was terrible.
Sanity.
I what's that?
Good, some sanity.
Yeah, no, it was awful. Everyone who worked on it should be embarrassed. I can't even believe it's connected to one of the great all-time horror films ever made that had so many amazing original ideas. There wasn't one original idea in this. There was nothing. I mean, there are moments from the original Exorcist that you recall, her head twisting around, vomiting pea soup, whatever. And there are great moments of, there are other great dramatic moments as well. And having it steeped in religion, I thought was a great thing. This incredibly stupid, awful, everyone involved should be embarrassed. They should be embarrassed. And the thing is this, David Gordon Green, and Blumhouse, like, they've done good things. I actually think David Gordon Green is fairly talented filmmaker. He really, and the biggest flaw in this is the script is just god awful. the whole Exorcist Avengers at the end was dumb. You know, the neighbor who was gonna be a nun and she'd read the Bible. Okay, great. And then it was just bad. And I mean, it looked like if this had gone to streaming, I would have been disappointed. It was terrible. And I mean, I could go on and on. I thought that, you know, the actors were fine, but it really was the script and the ideas that killed this thing. And the sort of ending with this is a spoiler, this little cameo at the very end. They sort of threw that in for no good reason.
That felt very Force Awakens. I will agree with that.
It did, yeah.
But
So
see,
The
that's where I'm
Exorcist
interesting to see where it's going
script
from
need-
there.
So
Anyway.
the script for The Exorcist needed an exorcism itself.
Yes, it's just was so bad.
Well,
And-
here's the thing that I don't understand. Like, I didn't think it was so bad. I thought it was going to be horrible, and actually kind of liked it for a couple reasons. And I don't know about the not having original ideas part, but I mean, maybe you've seen this in other haunting movies. I hate a lot of exorcism type movies aside from The Exorcist. That's why I probably haven't seen it before if it is. But the original Exorcist is in like my top 10 favorite films of all time. So I was surprised I didn't out and out hate this like you did, Chris.
yeah, I out and out hated it. And
I
it
liked
was-
the father character in the movie. I thought was interesting.
I thought it was dumb and forced. I thought the relationship between the father and the daughter from Haiti, right? Those characters it was like someone forgot to edit the movie. They kept so much of that could have been cut down. We get it. He feels guilt, you know, over his daughter's birth, and then there's a twist at the end, whatever. But I thought, I don't even think it changed all that much. It was kind of stupid. And I just everything about this movie I despised. I was angry. They ruined the franchise. And there's supposed to be a sequel to this coming out in 1 year.
I'm not so sure about that. I've heard some rumors to indicate that might not be happening.
Oh, okay. Well, then that was the plan anyway, was to release.
Yeah, I thought they had shot them back to back, but then I'm
But they
reading now
haven't.
David Gordon Green hasn't shot it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently he's not too keen on returning for part 2, is what I heard.
Wonder why.
Which is going to throw a serious wrench
Yeah.
into things.
Yeah.
Didn't you like Shang-Chi though, Chris?
No. I
Okay.
said it was like a copy. It's like Panda Express, you know.
There was some movie you liked that I couldn't believe you liked though, and I'm just like,
Well, I mean, I have guilty pleasures or things I like
yeah.
bad, but yeah, Shang-Chi was like taking a Chinese person out.
Nah, I just was gonna give you shit if you did, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
go ahead.
But anyway, no, I do see your point. But Tom, you mentioned one thing about like dunking on Catholics. I'm not so sure about that. And also, can I give like one point of defense of that, which actually goes way
I'd love
back
to hear it because the
original?
movie, in my eyes, doesn't necessarily support that. Because for those who don't know, they literally have, and this is a spoiler, but I don't care at this point. The Catholic Church tells them he can't do the exorcism. The exorcist goes to the house to tell them they can't do the exorcism and sits in the fucking car through most of the exorcism because there's a woman there who can do this. And that's the part where I thought was stupid. And I agree with Chris because they have this whole thing where it's built on something she did in the past. And she makes this stupid statement. She's like, this is why all this happened. I'm meant to be here tonight. Like she's representing the Catholic Church because they have had too much patriarchy. That is a through line through the whole movie that I did not like.
Yeah,
And her character is indicative of that. And she is the worst actress in the whole fucking movie. I don't even know why she's there. She should be one of the characters from the earlier film or a doctor that worked on Reagan in the earlier film. That would make more fucking sense. Right? Like I don't know why. It should be Sharon or something like that, even though Sharon died in Exorcist 2. That's the other thing is, I don't think it matters if you've seen the extended cut of the other version. And actually, this movie doesn't necessarily negate any of the sequels yet either. That's the other thing. Until we actually see more of certain characters, those things could have happened yet.
So far, nothing here is negated. Not even the TV series.
That's what I mean.
Is canon. That's what they said going in as well. They did say that all previous Exorcist installations, they all happened.
It doesn't really matter in this film. You don't have to have seen them, but yeah, it's just like that's where I'm kind of going off of this with a little bit of a. That's what I didn't like is they took the hero of the franchise, which was the Catholic Church and The Exorcist, and they said, no, it's not diverse enough. And that's what bothered me, and it bogged down the movie in that stupid bullshit.
I don't know so much that it was the Catholic Church, so much as that was Father Merrin himself. and him being a Catholic was a complete coincidence. That
Well,
was
that's the
certainly my
problem when
reading of
people
it,
are having
because
issues with that line,
Father-
Andre.
Yeah, because Father Merrin was the Exorcist. In this movie, there is no the Exorcist, and that guy representing the Catholic Church, he wasn't strong enough in his faith, and this was clear. And also this other woman that came in, and the worst thing with like this thing about patriarchy. Yeah, okay, I can see that. I cannot defend that. I'm not trying to. Where I was going was like, for instance, with this African woman doing this African thing, which led to absolutely nothing. That's a callback to movie
That's where they
number
fucked
2.
up. Yeah, see, and
But
that's the thing.
I don't think that's fucked up, and here's why. Because if you even go back to the original Exorcist, look at the demon there, Pazuzu. It's pre-Catholic. This goes way back to Sumerian times. All the demons and stuff like that, they go back to the very first recorded religion and our very first recorded history. So they predate all modern
And that's
religions.
fine. And I'm not saying that. My point is what they didn't use her correctly. They mixed all these other things in here. And what it should have been is when they say, you know, God played a trick on you, which is in the trailer. The one girl's Catholic, and that's where the exorcists don't show up and they get pissed off. And the other kid is a nondescript religion, has not been raised religious at all. But there's an incident in the beginning of the movie where I actually thought they were cursing the baby instead of blessing it. And I'm like, there's where you could have played into that and had the one girl been cured by the Catholic side of the exorcism, because they even talk about it in the first film and each and every subsequent film about how it's more about the power of suggestion than it is the actual faith itself, right? It's like, okay, so if the person is Catholic, well, then they're going to be more affected if you bring in a Catholic priest than if you bring in a rabbi, for instance. That's what they're trying to say there. It's just because it's their the way they were raised, the way their spirit is functioning, whatever you want to put it, however you want to put it. What they should have had at that point is the one girl's cured, the other one's not, and you needed that witch doctor lady, and I hate calling her that because they don't give you a description of what she actually is. She just tells you that her religion is based in some kind of Catholicism, but it was passed down through slavery and all this kind of stuff, and they don't even give it a name, right? It's not quite like voodoo, but it's in that range, and I can't quite explain it. I don't know what it is. Some nondescript religion. Now, she should have been the key to that whole thing with the girl, maybe. And that would have been interesting to play with that. But no, instead, the trick plays out the way it does. I get it. But my problem is they didn't utilize her at all. They introduced her 3 times throughout the movie for no good fucking reason. They have a buttload of other characters they introduce in the second act for no good fucking reason. And Chris is right on that. There's a lot of this that could have been edited down and trimmed down. And it feels like they're just overflowing it with this idea that Catholicism is just not enough. We need more. And she even says some line kind of like that in a way. And it's different in the trailer than it's in the movie, though.
And that's interesting, though, because here they kind of try to do an Avengers angle. And I would say that here it failed without giving any spoilers. In the first movie, people can debate between themselves whether good one or evil one, but it was the intention of the director and the writer that good won. In this one, I'm going to say that evil won. The devil won this round.
And maybe I don't know what else you didn't like about it, Chris, but I mean, I understand a lot of your points. See, I'm not disagreeing with you. So, but I at the end of the day, I still enjoyed elements of the film and some of the performances. But
I'm not disagreeing with you either, Chris, or with you, Mr. Rage. I just have a different interpretation of what we all said.
My thoughts,
let's hear what you said. I watched your review, but
yeah,
Mr. H,
it's fucking trash. It's absolute red hot
turd.
Yeah,
could you develop that a little bit further?
Yeah, absolutely, of course I can. Unequivocally, terrible pacing. 1 hour 40 grinds to an absolute halt. It's like 3 hours. My back was hurting. My eyes were hurting. It's absolutely atrocious pacing. There are such pointless, talk about the editing. There are such pointless scenes that go, it's just filler. It's filler for filler's sake. It's absolute nonsense. There are, we talk about film and how, every frame should be worthwhile of value. There are so many frames and scenes in this that are completely wasted, utterly pointless, just drivel. It doesn't build upon anything. It doesn't add any more context than previous scenes had already given. It's a complete shit show on a pacing level. The acting of the girls was awful. I don't understand how anyone can say that they were good. That girl that walks in the fucking church getting the body in the blood, I wanted to slap her in the face. Tombstoner. It was awful. There is no one single scary scene in this entire film. The first film is hailed as a horror masterpiece, the scariest film of all time. And someone says this film is good? Really? Are you high? There is nothing scary in this entire film. The entire film. No jump scares, no nothing. The woman, the little girl, spoiler, no one cares. The little girl, when she walks in the bathroom, that's laugh out loud funny. There's nothing scary in this. It is so bad. So bad. Don't waste your money. You can find it online for free, and I wouldn't even advise that. Genuinely. There you go.
Well, that's I agree with you. I failed to mention that. Yeah, it wasn't scary. It's a bunch of
literally not at all scary.
Yeah, that I agree with. There was nothing scary.
Laugh
here.
out loud funny
It was
moments.
more a
Laugh out
drama
loud
than
funny.
anything else.
God, it's so bad. The fucking patriarchy line. Was that supposed to be a joke? Was it supposed to be funny? Because it's so left field, it's almost setting up as like, a punchline. It's so bizarre. It's so left field. And also, love, hold on, Miss McNeil. You couldn't watch The Exorcism because of the patriarchy. Maybe it's because it was an actual demon that you also confirm you believe in. So that doesn't make any sense. Those two people died for your daughter, you moron. Oh, not only
that was
that,
lame because she
not
was out
only
of
that-
there to be kept safe. Yeah, I thought that was ungrateful.
Well, I hope now she praises the patriarchy because the moment she walks in the room with the actual demon, she gets her eyes gouged out with a fucking cross. Like, you are the biggest moron of the entire film, Chris McNeil.
Yeah, I do not.
Blame the patriarchy. Yeah, you literally went out, you saw one of the girls and now you're blind.
Turns out patriarchy was right, didn't it?
Fuck this film. Honestly, don't watch it, guys, in the chat. Do not watch this film.
But you see,
ever.
actually, that's part of the subtext. She was complaining about patriarchy and being left out, and then she stupidly went in. And what happened? That's actually
patriarchy.
That's kind of like a clever reversal right there. So what have we learned? Patriarchy was right. Patriarchy had this covered.
I hate this film so much. I don't understand. I don't understand how anyone doesn't have, especially you, Tom, someone that loves the first one. I don't understand how you don't have.
I didn't want to like this, Nate. I really didn't. And I don't like it.
No, I know, but I don't understand how you're not hating it on a level where you're positively salivating like you're a rabid dog.
Me too. Trust me, I'm beside myself as well. I was even beside myself walking out of the movie because I'm like, I didn't totally hate it.
Oh.
And I didn't like Ellen Bernstein in it. I thought her character was completely wasted and drugged the movie down because there's no real reason for her to be there. I called out the point in the book that brings her into the story because I'm like, she wasn't even a part of that fucking scene. That was Sharon who brought in Father Karras and said, I want you to see this. And she specifically says, I don't want Chris to know. And it's when she shows her the help me thing on her belly. And that part I thought was really stupid. I'm like, there's a million other ways you could have done this that would have made more sense. And that was my problem with the whole movie is like, there is a good movie here, but the way it was executed, like I can't disagree with you and Chris on that part. Like there's certain, but I don't hate it as harshly as I did like Star Wars or any of those kind of movies that came out where they really screwed the pooch with this. I feel like I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up a new story in this franchise. So they're starting from kind of a basis like The Force Awakens. But at least in this one, instead of it just being, a bigger Death Star, they at least added, I see where Andre comes from. They at least added some different kind of elements to the story, which really kind of feel different from other things we've gotten in The Exorcist before. And again, I can understand where Chris has probably seen a million of these fucking ripoffs and probably seen a lot of these same kind of tropes in those already. So I totally understand that because I fell out of watching every movie that came out years ago because of that very fucking reason. You get to a point where you don't even remember what movie is what, where one movie ends and the other one begins because they're all so much the same when it comes to some of these.
I think the most egregious thing about all of this is Universal and Blumhouse. Ladies and gents, if you're chewing, you're drinking, just stop for 1 second. Universal and Blumhouse paid $400 million for the rights and $30 million to make this bag of shite. They are so screwed.
Yeah, that is something I don't understand at all.
Yeah. I don't understand what they're thinking
screwed.
there. Because basically, yeah, okay, let's just say that you spend $400 million on the rights, and then you spent a total $200 million on 3 movies. Then you're down $600 prior to marketing. That's a total negative cost of $200 million, which means that each and every single one of the 3 movies has to make around 500 million at the worldwide box office to break even. So you're talking a total of 1.5 billion worldwide in order to break even on that investment, right?
Well, but
Instead,
what you're
this
not,
movie
what
like-
you're not taking, what you're not taking into consideration is the vast profits Universal made on Bros.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Some good
The
decision-making.
video
Well, of
sales
course,
on
it
that
doesn't
are
matter
amazing, I
because-
bet.
So they're
This-
easily able to cover these losses. Come
No,
on.
you know how to cover these losses? Disney's going to send them a free gift of $12 billion. That's how they're going to cover this loss. But still, because when you look at the box office, this movie did $30 million at the domestic box office. Those are honestly really, really good
If it
numbers.
hadn't cost them that much money, yeah, I see what Andre's
Yeah,
saying.
if
Is
they
that this
didn't
would
blow that money on just getting the rights in the first place, this thing would have done really well. But with that kind of negative cost, this is going to be one of the biggest flops of all time. This whole endeavor.
because actually I was impressed by how much this, and that's when you said that was only the domestic we were looking at. I'm like, wow, because actually that bodes pretty well for the film. It doesn't bode well for Blumhouse and the money trap they got involved in here. And I think, Script, you pointed out it was probably some money laundering scheme by Morgan Creek, for that matter. And I wouldn't be surprised, because where anybody thought the Exorcist franchise, just for the rights aspect of it. So keep this in mind, folks. They didn't get any of the rights to the original films. I believe those are all still over at Warner Brothers. Morgan Creek bought the rights just before the 3rd film came out. Okay. So Morgan Creek owns the rights to the franchise, but they don't own any of the distribution rights on the first 4.5 films. Okay. So they're not getting any of that. So they just paid $400 million just to be able to make theatrically 3 films with the title Exorcist in them, basically, and use characters and storylines from those films. Then they spent another, what was it, $30 million just making this film. So they made they're on the verge of making their production cost, and would have had a nice little profit had they not spent $400 million on the franchise to begin with. And I don't know where that deal came about and why they would even do that, because it makes absolutely no sense.
Universal just chuck this on streaming in 2 weeks anyway, so they'll tank their potential sales for this as a feature anyway now. So,
well, they already
gonna leave
moved it
it
because
there.
they're afraid of Taylor Swift. Yeah, the Pazuzu's afraid of Taylor Swift, believe it or not.
I don't think this movie will break even. I think it'll really struggle, actually.
Can I add to the financial concerns you guys just
Go
vented?
for it.
They just laid off a bunch of people and are restructuring at Blumhouse right now.
Yep.
I'm not surprised.
Well, I wonder
after
why.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's just you guys were just describing the financial.
Here's the thing
conundrum.
we're talking about here is this is where they looked at a Ford Escort and thought they were buying a Lamborghini. Okay.
And paid full Lamborghini.
And
price
paid
for
full
it.
Lamborghini prices for it. And even though if they would have just paid, normal Blue Book prices for it, they'd been fine, and they probably would have had a decent vehicle here for Blumhouse, because it makes sense. I mean, budget-wise, these movies you can make really cheap. We learned that. It only cost them $30 million to make this movie. So,
and even that's pushing it. I mean, I think you could get a great Exorcist movie for $10 million.
Probably. Oh yeah, a good portion of this went to certain casting and other things, but no. And Mr. H has to take off on it, so I'm going to give you your final thoughts on this, Mr. H. I'm sad to say we don't have a new Exorcism film, but at the same time, like I just said, it's not really a franchise, so I don't know why Morgan Creek decided to try and make it a franchise in that respect.
Well, what else do they have?
Well, Morgan Creek does have the rights to some odd bits and pieces, actually.
Yeah, they got Young Guns, they got Ace Ventura.
They also
again, where's the franchise? Where's the franchise?
I know.
Oh no, they don't have any of that. But I mean,
exactly, that's what I mean.
Morgan Creek are laughing at this deal. Holy crap!
Yeah, they've got some nice. They have nice money now. they got.
They got fuck you money out of this.
Yeah, they sold that Ford Escort and said William Friedkin himself had sex in the back of that Ford Escort. That's why it's worth so much. And...
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good point.
It's a terrible film. Honestly, don't watch it. ladies and gents in the chat. It's
Oh no, I
genuinely
can't
awful.
recommend anybody go seeing it in the theater. So I mean, if anything, take some solace in that, Chris and Nate. That I can't do that.
I agree with that. Like this is not a case of the Equalizer Part 3 where I'm going to say, you have to see this movie, or even Saw X, which I also tremendously enjoyed. This is a movie where I found things that I appreciated, but I cannot refute what either Mr. Rage or Chris or even Tom's negative points. So am I recommending you watching it? No, not unless you're sure you're going to like it or you're really into The Exorcist. Otherwise, this is a wait for streaming movie. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I guess the reason I'm not like throttling or whatever the hell word is I'm looking for that you want, Mr. H, or expect out of me because of this is I really wish I had an answer for it other than it's not as bad as what they've done to other franchises yet. That's the
this is where we are, right, people. It's like, well, they didn't completely sink it, so yeah.
This feels like the movie felt like I was in a boat that I wasn't expecting to make it to the other side of the lake, but it just managed to get there, kind of thing.
This boat went subatomic for me. It was awful.
And I understand that. I understand totally. And I understand where Chris hated it too. So
yeah.
But every Tuesday and Thursday, I hang out with Mr. H over on his channel. And is there anything else you want to plug on your way out?
No, I mean, that's it really. So guys, if you enjoy the likes of this stream, you can head on over to my channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Hcast. We start a little bit later. I don't know what time it is for you guys, but 9 p.m. UK time, and on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. UK time on Thursdays. But that's about it, really. Just normal, hit subscribe on my channel, check it out, Mistake Reviews. But that's it. Thanks for having me. Sorry I've got to go so early. I'd love to stay a bit longer, but I'm catching up from my master's degree at the weekend, so I've got loads of crap to do, unfortunately. So yeah, busy. But thanks.
See you tomorrow.
Cheers,
Nate.
guys.
Take care.
Bye.
This clip was taken from Midnight's Edge in the Morning, which streams live every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Midnight's Edge main channel. There you can send in your live questions and comments before clips and full stream replays are uploaded to Midnight's Edge live archives. We are also on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey and Facebook, so smash that like, help share, subscribe and join us.